Welcome to Red Sox Now, presented by FanArch, here on the lovely YouTube. Before we get going, if you could subscribe to the channel. I know a lot of you are still watching and not subscribing. I know the great comments are our lovely subscribers, and we have formed a terrific community here, so I really appreciate all that. Different hat today, non-sports. Manchester by the Sea is one of my favorite places on the planet. I mean, I lived in Maine for 15 years. I lived in Old Orchard on the beach. I love that. If I had to rank, though, York Beach is here to me. Manchester by the Sea, the North Shore, is second. York Beach is somewhere, if I could ever afford a beach house someday, we could do Red Sox Now on the back porch. That would be my ultimate dream. But I love it, and I had to get a hat there couple years ago. But if you've been to Massachusetts and the North Shore, if you come to Fenway, make a trip to Manchester by the Sea, because it does not feel like Massachusetts. It is unbelievable. There are tons of like when you drive around there, it's Lexus, it's all the cars. I mean, it's a high income, high real estate, breathtaking area. So I like learning about all of you too, where you're from and all that. We're getting some really cool stuff, and we'll get to baseball. Okay, we'll get to baseball. I'm Mike. Thanks for watching. Follow me on social at the Radio Mike. The Woo Sox are finishing out their season. I'll be with them all next week when they're home against Rochester. They're in Syracuse right now. One of the biggest impact guys right there is Mikey Romero's been doing a good job. Christian Campbell's still coming along. Abraham Toro's playing down there. But Mikey Romero, who's so young and raw, he has got, I think, it's the first or second highest exit velocity on his batted balls in the system. And you wouldn't think that's a guy that could do that. But really good defender. He's playing second and third. First-round pick, kind of forget about him with Meyer and all these other guys. It happens. But it's been fun watching him come along as well. And there's not much pitching left because they're all in the big leagues. And we're going to get to some good stuff about the pitching and about previous teams. I had to use the Stand in the Place because I like that song, Stand. It's a catchy headline. Probably not needed, but I could not resist. So Chapman is human. Got some good swings against them. And, Alex Cora said it was bound to happen. That's a good hitting. I like a lot of their players. I really do. Langoliers, Brent Rooker, Butler. I mean, it's too bad the A's don't spend a little more money. Their pitching's horrible. It's near the bottom. They're 30th at one point in ERA. But, I mean, Brent Rooker's got 40 doubles. Soderstrom, Jacob Wilson, that kid Thomas is pretty good, too, in center. He's struggling a little bit offensively. But, of course, Kurtz, who was kind of a mess at first base. But they got some good pieces. Can you imagine if they even invested a little more around that core, with Wilson, Langoliers, Rooker, Kurtz, and Butler, Soderstrom, and put some veterans. Like, imagine a Bregman and a Duran in that lineup. Around those guys. Doesn't take much sometimes. And they came out swinging. The Red Sox had opportunities early, and Lou Merloni talked about it on TV. They didn't capitalize. Leadoff double to start the game. Couldn't get that run in. I still think, I know people won't agree with me, but I thought Duran, I'm not being a Monday morning quarterback, first inning, run. He was at third. I think you forced the issue. I think the bad throw is because Duran was at first. I just think against that team, you got to gamble because you just didn't know how the day was going to go pitching-wise. And you had a lot of opportunities early. He still scored 4 runs, and it happens. It was not an easy day to piece together. I'm seeing more criticism of Peyton Tolley, which is crazy. People realize, most first-year guys are pitching on the back fields with no attendance. He's pitching in the middle of a pennant race, short rest. He's in uncharted territory. And he gave up 2 home runs. I get it. But he gave it 2 innings. This was just a day where you needed guys to just get you through this game. Slayton doesn't look himself. It's going to take time. It's hard for guys to come off the injured list and be right. He's just not right yet. But have a little more perspective with Tolle and even Connolly early next time around. These are beyond depth. You're going to try to piece together pitching because of all the injuries. It's crazy what's going on. And I just still like Tolle. I mean, I'm not going to... No one's given up on Tolle. I know people are a little disappointed with his last 2 outings, but you just have to have more perspective and realize, and I know that they're trying to get the vision. I get that. But you don't have a ton of options right now. Tyler Uberstein, who I love, is been skipped. He's been tired. You can tell he hasn't had some great outings. I don't think that's a better option right now. We always think the next flavor of the month is a better option. But I still think Tolle's stuff looked pretty good at times yesterday, considering this is a first-year pro. It's, So they had chances. They got 2 hits yesterday. Nate Eaton looked good. RBIs. Ref Snyder off the bench. Trevor Story knocked in another run. 27 doubles. 91 RBIs. But, couldn't capitalize. 2 for 16 with runners in scoring position. Now, the A's were 2 for 13, but, a team like that, you want to try to get ahead early, and just didn't happen. Kyle Harrison looked terrific, absolutely terrific. The Red Sox here really redid his repertoire. That might be a spot where he looks good. 3 innings, he threw 49 pitches, 35 strikes. So it's still a lot of pitches, too. This is what he kind of did in Worcester. So, you double that for 6 innings. It's around 100. But I thought for what you needed yesterday, you needed him to go 3. You were hoping Slayton gave you more. It just didn't work out. So the Red Sox move on. They turn the page. They have a much-needed day off. And now down to the final 15 games of the year. The Yankees do play Detroit. And with all of this going on, the Red Sox are still 3 games out. And if the Yankees lose tonight, the Red Sox will be a half game in front of them. And they play them this weekend. And I do like that they don't play a lot because it's just making these series now, all these series that they've played the Yankees have just become, I think, even bigger, which I love. Right? I mean, this is, early September, middle September right now. And they're going to be neck and neck over the weekend at Fenway. Terrific. Terrific weekend, with college football, with the Patriots playing Sunday at Miami. Really cool. Friday's game, by the way, Apple Plus, Sunday, ESPN, Saturday, Nesson. That's how they're doing it, which they should. All right. This was, I don't expect all of you guys and gals to have been with me the whole time. But a couple of months ago, I think it was at the break, maybe, I said 90 wins. That's the ultimate goal. So I don't look at every game, every series, and I don't like that was a huge loss. And because you win games sometimes you don't deserve. And think about, the Rafaela walk-off. You were down, or the one where he hit it right inside the pole that you won that game. Or even he made a great defensive play against the Dodgers at second where, say he wasn't playing second that day, you might have lost that game. Like I watched, it evens out. And the bottom line is this. The Red Sox are 81-66. They won 81 games last year. To me, they're overachieving. 15 games over 500 with an offense that has been very extreme with guys going up and down with all the injuries. You do have some really great players that have helped. But I think it's been a good season for them with all the adversity they've faced. A lot of rookies, counting on a lot of rookies, a lot of new faces, the Devers. If they get to 90 wins, that's a fantastic season. And that's the goal that I've set for them. They got to go 9-6. I know that the Rangers are 4 games behind them, and they don't have the head-to-head. If the Red Sox go 9-6, Texas has to go 13-2 to finish the year to catch them. 4 games sounds like not a lot, but you've got to remember there's 15 games left. And the Rangers are playing great baseball right now. Absolutely. So is Seattle. I think Seattle is still a scary team. Better offense, pitching, I know has been a little suspect, but you think about when you watch the playoffs every year, do you think about anything that well, see, I'm so excited. Do you think of anything that happens previous? And does anything previous matter? I don't know. I can't quantify that. But the things that we freak out about sometimes disappear. There's different heroes in postseason. No one thought the Rangers would do what they did. Even the Diamondbacks getting there. Even the Braves a few years ago. So there are things that happened during the season that we have concerns about. And the Seattle fan base, their big concern is their pitching is their strength, but hasn't been. But they've now rattled off 5 straight wins, and they are 1 game out of the division. So they have a chance to still climb over Houston, which would be interesting. So it would be interesting because Texas plays Houston. So the Red Sox, let's look at the Yankees schedule. They play the Detroit game, then they have at Boston. They're on a long road trip. At Boston, at Minnesota, at Baltimore. Road games. Red Sox yesterday, if they had won, would have been the 3rd team in the American League to be over 500 on the road. I think it's the balanced schedule, the more travel. There's only 5 clubs in the big leagues over 500 on the road. But the Red Sox are just 1 under. So they had a chance to be only the 3rd. The Sox have New York, the Athletics, at Tampa, at Toronto, Detroit. The Detroit series is interesting, right? I don't like to look ahead too much, but if they have clinched, Skubal's not pitching that series. Now, this isn't like the back in the day with a 40-man where you can run out a bunch of minor leaguers. But it'd be interesting to see how they're going to play that. Now, let's not, right? It might not matter. And Texas plays at the Mets, at Houston, Miami, Minnesota, at Cleveland. So their next 6 games are huge. 6 road games against those 2 teams, right? You just win series here, right? Red Sox, say they go 4-2, and the Texas goes 3-3, and it's 5 games with 9 left. So that's why I say the 4 seems like not much, but it is. And the bottom line is this: it doesn't matter how many games you're ahead. You win, you take care of business. That's all that matters. So this becomes very important. Very important. Avoid sweeps, but at home you like to go plus. And this is, plus 500. So this is big. And I get it. People are saying, well, if they had won yesterday. Yep, I know. Woulda, shoulda, coulda. You got to turn the page. I did not think that was an easy game to win yesterday, considering what you were doing, when you were running out there. It means you're bullpen games. So that's what I strive for, the 9 wins to get to 90. So this will be a strong opinion. I don't think the teams that won the World Series for the Red Sox, 04, 08, it was 07, right? Yeah. 07, 13, and 18. I don't think they win the World Series having to use as many starters as the Red Sox this year. The Red Sox have used 14 different guys to make starts. Do you realize the 04 team? This is never talked about. You had 5 guys that made 29 starts or more. Arroyo made 3 relief outings. After that, Lenny DiNardo was on that team, by the way. So Lenny can talk about this. Kim, who they got from Arizona, made 3 starts. Pedro Estacio and Abe Alvarez made 1. Think about that for a minute. You had 8 guys make starts in 04. 2 made 1. Schilling, Martinez, Wakefield, Lowe, Arroyo you had for the season. What do you think the Red Sox team in 25 would be if you had that? You'd probably have 8 more wins. Is it luck? Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I don't know. I don't know how to quantify that. Yeah, it's a grueling game. It's staying healthy is, how do you do? You try your best. There's a lot of veterans on that 04 team. I think having, Wakefield, Lowe, and Arroyo weren't power pitchers. Pedro was always relatively healthy, and Schilling at 37, that was huge. But you had 4 guys all over 30. But think about that. 04, 8 guys made starts. 2 of those guys made 1. 07, you had Daisuke, Beckett, Wakefield, Schilling, Tavares, Lester. So that's 6. Gabbard made 7. Buchholz made 3. DeVern Hansek made 1. 9 guys made starts. But 2 of those guys made 1 in 3 starts. 13 team. You had Lester, Lackey, Dempster, Dubront, Buchholz, Peavy, Workman, Aceves, Webster, and then Morales and Stephen Wright each made 1 start. So the 13 team had 11 guys made starts, but 2 of them made 1. The 18 team had 11 guys make starts. Jalen Beeks made 1. William Cuevas made 1. Man, we're going back. Stephen Wright made 4. And you were relatively healthy. Porcello, Price, in this year, 14. So think about that. As hard, the Red Sox were a wild card in 04. Now, they were really good in 18. And I'm not saying, the 18 team and maybe even 07, they were really good. But 14 guys this year, and you still are a playoff team. That is not easy to do. And you're really, reaching down deeper. And it could change. You could have more guys because Kyle Harrison could start a game. You could have 15. Maybe Uberstein does at some point. But that, I thought, I always remember the 04 team. And I know I've talked to Keith Folk about this too. And he brought that up to me once. And I had really not even, and I think Veritek had as well talked about this before, about their health, and how everything had to really, that team, things had to really, work for them. They were a wild card team. They were down 3-0. But the fact that they got pretty much their entire rotation to pitch the entire season is unbelievable. And I don't know if the 3 relief outings that Arroyo made were ones where he came in relief and was a bulk guy. Nope, he had 2 relief outings, April 15th, May 5th, and May 9th. So after that, so starting on May 10th in 04, the Red Sox entire rotation was healthy for the season. Think about that. One guy gets hurt. Schilling gets hurt. You're probably done. Nothing happens. It's one of the most remarkable accomplishments, I think, in Red Sox history. That 04 team. The way they won. Yankees, think about this. They're down 3-0 to the Yankees. They lost the game before 19-8, which is 1908, right? Or 1918, whatever. Right? And then they win the next 8 games of the playoffs. And every starter was healthy for the rest of it. It's a really, I'd like to see another documentary on it. It would be really cool. Let's get to your comments. They were always great. I mean, what if I said they were bad, would you be mad? They're not. I'm kidding. At Wadge, oh man, Wadge Getchell 624. Why all the handles I can't pronounce? Who do you credit to the Red Sox success and pitching prospects over the past couple of years, like their development? I start with the drafts, right? I mean, you got to give Heim credit too. He drafted a lot of these guys, did a good job. Breslow's done a good job. I like having where they struggled, and I told you this yesterday. I was screaming for years about you got to get better pitching in here. You got to figure it out. It's not developing. It's drafting him better. The Yankees do a great job of it. But your leader is a pitcher. I like that because that's some of your weakness. And your manager was a position player. And Andrew Bailey's done a fantastic job. There's things I didn't agree with him about the whole non-fastball, and they got away from that. And Alex Bregman, by the way, is very vocal to them about things. Lucas Giolito said he's like a starting pitcher. Like, he questions a lot. He tells them things. I like that. But I think that you've got a guy in charge that is big on pitching, and their program, the proof is in the pudding with a lot of guys that they've brought over here that have had career years. You know, they say what you want about Crochet. Some had reservations. The fact that they were all in on him. Yep, we don't care. 4 prospects. Here's some money. Here's a bag of cash. We believe it. Chapman, Giolito, they've done great with Bayo. They change guys' repertoires. That's what Harrison was down there so long because they're teaching guys different grips. Like on his changeup, they're teaching guys how to throw this, what it's called a kick change. It's a different grip. But they're re-gripping guys. They've done a really good job, and they're working super hard with finding strengths of guys. And, so I think it's a lot. The player development people in charge, Ben Crockett, Brian Abraham, they've been there forever. So that hasn't changed. And you can credit a lot of their minor league coaches and staff and instructors that rove around from minor league team to minor league team. There's some really, really good people in this organization. I can tell you this from being in the game. Minor league coaches don't get any credit. You don't understand how hard that is. That some that are ex-big leaguers and they have to go, back through the ropes of working in A-ball and Double-A and taking bus trips. And you don't do it. You do it. You're not doing it for the money. It's hard. It's a grind. And it's a lot of responsibility. If things don't go right sometimes, the hierarchy will be like, hey, what's going on down there? Even if it's the player's fault. They do a lot. Early work. You don't realize what time these guys get to the park, sometimes 5-6 hours, and they're working with guys. The amount of work they did with Harrison and the bullpen sessions, the strength and conditioning. That's where, the Yankees have been really good at that for a long time. The way that they treat their minor league coaches, players. The Red Sox are right up there. They're probably tied in my, because I'm close to the Yankees. I've been in leagues with them, so I've got a pulse in them, and I talk to their broadcasters on other teams. But these minor league coaches, there's a lot of responsibility. Bob Kipper, who's been in Greenville forever, and I love Bob. I was with him in Portland. He's a dear friend, big league pitcher. He's been there for a long time. He's from that area, and he is so good working with those young pups. And the Red Sox keep some older staff members at the lower levels and even rookie ball because they trust them and they realize how vital that is for their development. So I think they've had the good infrastructure, and now I think with Breslow and being very pitcher-centric, and Andrew Bailey and them developing good plans, I think they've done a better job at getting guys over here and changing them, which is really hard to do. At Real Map Lazon, early looks like he knows how to pitch. Good command, spins and uses it to set up cheese. Yeah, that was fantastic. Pitched like a veteran. At Joe D. Feo-I5W, their depth is incredible. Been a fan since 1986. My favorite year, by the way. I was 13. Absolutely loved that year. I want to do a documentary on that season. Coming up on 40 years. Next year's depth: Fitz, Dobbins, Early, Uberstein, Harrison, Mullers, Holobets, Monegro, and maybe Valera. Major credit to the drafting, scouting, and development groups. Without their efforts, Bloom and Bryce can't be successful. You're right. You're right. Good stuff, everyone. Please, on your way out, hit the subscribe button so we can get closer to 3,000, our goal for the last game of the year, whether it's the World Series, whether it's... We don't want it to be the regular season because it's not going to be. But if we can get to 3,000, that's be great. Counting down to 1,800. So that'd be great. And follow me on social at the Radio Mike. Tomorrow's show, we focus on the Yankees and preview that series. The Red Sox are off today. We root for the Tigers so that the Red Sox can be a half game in front of the Yankees going into a huge weekend at Fenway Park. Have a blessed Thursday, everybody, and go Sox.